One of the largest segments of the printing and publishing industry is the production of publications such as magazines, books, catalogs, directories, and marketing materials. The first thing that most people think of in regards to these type of publications is the creative design aspect or pre-press parts of production. The second thing that is usually thought of is the massive web offset and gravure presses that mass produce these publications at speeds of up to 50,000 impressions per hour. These machines are truly amazing, and they are awesome to see in person. It really is unbelievable how much paper these machines can go through in a short period of time and how much finished product they can produce. With the production capabilities of these machines, a logical question arises. What happens to all that printed paper? The answer is that it enters the final step in publication production, the binding and finishing department. This area of production is given little thought by most people, but it is just as important as any other part of publication production. In fact, most printing company owners will tell you that improving productivity and efficiency in the bindery, more so than in any other area, will reduce the cost of production, thus increasing your profit levels. In publication production, the finishing process actually begins at the end of each web press, where inline folding equipment produces folded signatures. You may be asking yourself, what is a folded signature? In sheet-fed printing, it is easy to see that the press completes one printed impression per sheet of paper printed. This is more difficult to see on a web press because the impressions appear on a continuous web of paper. Once the printed image reaches the folding unit, rotary cutters cut the web into individual sheets of paper. These sheets of paper are immediately folded into multiple page sections of books called signatures. Signatures come in common page counts, such as 8, 16, 32, and 64 pages. These pictures show that complete books are made by stacking or inserting several signatures together. Now, let's take a closer look at the on-press folding equipment that creates these folded signatures at such amazing speeds. This tall tower at the end of a web press is where the folding takes place. As you can see, the complete folded signatures are being delivered on a conveyor and are checked for folding accuracy. Notice the overlapping of each signature. It would take forever to explain exactly how the folding equipment manages to cut and fold each signature 4 or 5 separate times at such an amazing speed. But here are a few pictures to show the complexity of this equipment. Following the folding unit, a complex system of conveyors feeds the completed signatures into very high-tech automated bundling and strapping systems. The result of these processes are secure bundles containing several hundred signatures. Watch this video footage closely to see how this bundling system works. special robotic equipment then lifts each bundle weighing hundreds of pounds and stacks them neatly onto skids. Each skid is then barcode labeled and hauled away by forklift for storage. Skids will remain in storage until all of the signatures for the complete book are printed and ready to be put together in the binding. One method of combining signatures to make a complete book is saddle stitching. Here are some pictures of saddle-stitched books. With saddle stitching, the signatures are inserted inside of each other and held together by two staples in the spine. Now we will explain the machines and processes involved in saddle stitching. This picture shows the first step in this binding process. It is to locate all of the skids for each individual signature of the book. Forklifts deliver these skids to the correct insertion position along the saddle stitching machine. Binding cannot begin until all signatures are in position and ready to go. People are then hired to feed the individual signatures into the machine. The machine then opens up each individual signature and drops it onto a moving chain-driven conveyor and on top of the next consecutive signature in the book. Watch this video footage to understand how this works. At the end of the saddle stitching machine, two staples are driven into the spine of the now collated book. You are viewing some pictures of the spools of wire that are needed by the saddle stitching machine. These pictures show the finishing station at the end of the saddle stitching machine. In this station, books are stacked into small bundles. They are trimmed on three sides and then are strapped and wrapped. Each book bundle is then spit out on a conveyor. Then an employee stacks each bundle on a skid for shipping. In this video clip, you can see how many saddle stitching machines Quad Graphics needs to keep running around the clock in order to keep up with its presses. Each of these machines costs millions of dollars. The area of saddle stitching also has a newer technology called high-speed drum stitching. Drum stitchers are twice as fast as regular saddle stitching machines and can reach speeds of 15 to 20,000 books per hour. The pictures you are viewing show that drum stitchers have fewer feeding stations and require less people to operate. Watch this video clip to see the feed side of a drum stitcher. It may appear that this drum stitcher is feeding slowly, but notice that the signatures almost completely overlap when they go vertical. Remember that on a conventional stitcher, the signatures did not overlap at all and actually had a gap of about 3 inches between each signature. The feed chain drives the signatures into a huge spinning drum that actually collates all the signatures into a complete book and places 2 wire stitches in the spine. The drum does this by not only spinning in a circle, but also moving from left to right on the inside of the drum. Now we will talk about a completely different binding method called perfect binding. Perfect bound books have a square spine with a glued-on cover. Phone books and paperback books are good examples of perfect binding. The signatures in a perfect bound book are stacked on top of each other, not inserted like in saddle stitching. The feeding stations on a perfect binder are very similar to that of a saddle stitcher, only signatures are being stacked onto the chain instead of being inserted. Following collation, the book blocks are squeezed together by clamps and the spines are sawed off. This picture shows the clamping and sawing process. It is difficult to see in the next three pictures, but this is the process where hot melt glue is being forced up into the sawed-off spines of the book blocks. When this glue is still hot and sticky, the covers are fed into the machine and adhered to the spines. When the glue cools, it creates a strong bond holding the pages and the covers together. The finishing station on the end of a perfect binder is very similar to that of a saddle stitcher. In this station, books are stacked into small bundles, they are trimmed on three sides, and then are strapped and wrapped. Each book bundle is then spit out on a conveyor. Then an employee stacks each bundle on a skid for shipping. Almost all customers in the magazine, catalog, and mass marketing businesses require their printers to provide inkjet mail services. This is the process of printing barcode or address information onto the outside or inside of each and every catalog. Notice the inkjet head in this video, which is printing a different address on each book as it passes by. These services can save the customers thousands of dollars in postage and sorting fees, which the post office would have charged them. Now we will take a look at the warehousing and distribution of publications both during and after production. As you can see, finding places to store all these materials and ways to move them from place to place really is a massive undertaking. In these pictures, notice the large corridors for forklifts to move materials to and from different areas. Also notice that most of the floor space is left completely open and all of the obstacles are painted bright yellow to avoid accidents. Believe it or not, most big plants will actually have traffic departments to help manage forklift traffic and keep people safe. Some plants actually go through so many skids that they have their own carpentry shop to repair and make their own skids. A new way to manage warehousing and distribution challenges is fully automated storage facilities like this building that you see. This building is capable of storing and managing hundreds of thousands of skids of materials with very few people. It does this by using robotic forklifts, laser eye barcode readers, and conveyor systems. With these technologies, the building always knows where everything is and can get it on a moment's notice. Watch this video clip to see both an unmanned and a manned robotic forklift. Notice how high materials can be stacked. Okay, now let's talk about the shipping of the job. Carefully loading trucks with properly packaged product is crucial because customers will not pay for products that are damaged in delivery. Shipping cannot begin until the entire order is produced and readied for delivery. Portions of very large orders, such as monthly magazines, may sit in storage for up to 3 weeks. Depending on where the job is being delivered, companies will either use their own fleet of trucks or hire common carriers to take the product to the customer.